Disclaimer, the comments made in this video are intended for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to offend anyone.
You know, this person is very disrespectful calling me sir.
Excuse me, I was teaching a class in CPR and this gentleman came here. They have no...
Gentlemen, why did you keep doing that? She's not a gentleman.
I'm sorry, are you a woman? Do you menstruate? Do you give birth? Do you lactate?
That doesn't matter.
Of course it matters. I'm not playing your games. Either you're born a man or you're born a woman.
Listen, I'm not a man.
That you're transforming, that's not my business. You're not women, okay? Stop.
But you need...
If you thought last time was spicy, just wait. We're diving headfirst into another round of logic versus lunacy.
Did you just assume my gender? You said white man.
Okay, I see your point there.
How do you know I'm not a woman?
I see your point.
You need to check your white privilege, your white female privilege.
He threw it back in her face, line by line, and
So, what is the end goal here? Am I supposed to apologize for sharing a video of some unhinged individual literally threatening some first 48 type shit on not only J.K. Rowling but Nancy Mace too? Am I the one that you... First of all, you and I both know this comment is full of hot air.
she read that liberal comment and said, yup, pure hot air.
Illegal immigrants are causing tremendous crime. Tremendous.
Immigrants commit less crime than U.S.-born citizens.
Illegal immigrants. I'm talking about illegal immigrants. I'm not talking about immigrants. I'm talking about illegal immigrants. I'm an immigrant. You're an immigrant. We're all immigrants.
The Pew Research says that there are, for immigrants on the whole,
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about.
Trump once again showing why the media hates unscripted moments.
Trail of Tears didn't kill millions of people.
Yes, it did.
How many millions do you think died in the Trail of Tears?
Let's Google it.
Google it. How many millions died at the Trail of Tears?
It says an estimated 4,000 out of 16,000 Cherokee people, forced to relocate. Let me see deaths.
How many millions?
It says estimate that 6,000 men, women, and children die on the 1,200-mile march called the Trail of Tears, Cherokee.
Okay.
So is 6,000 anywhere close?
According to this woke, the Trail of Tears killed millions. Google says otherwise. Folks, never let facts get in the way of a good victim narrative.
Here in Florida, we have the Florida National Guard, we have the State Guard, we got the State Police, FWP, we got local sheriff's office. Everybody's got boats. We got the Cajun Navy. Well, they're in Louisiana, but they're here a lot. But everybody's got boats. We will take care of ourselves. We will take care of each other. We don't need FEMA, the federal government, to come in and interfere with those efforts, okay? You're talking about refusing to sign a bill, and I'll be honest, I don't have the specifics of that bill off the top of my head, but I know when there's enough questions about where that money goes, does it go to flood victims or does it go to illegal migrants? Does it go to Ukraine or Israel? We don't know, and until we know specifically, I'm fine with them not getting another dime, because again, we will take care of ourselves.
Florida man delivers a reality check.
You don't have a uterus, you don't get to make a decision.
Did you just tell me I don't have a uterus?
It will never happen to you. Are you telling me that you have a uterus?
Well, you couldn't tell me I don't if I claimed it. My pronouns are uterus owner male.
He hit her with her own liberal nonsense as she had no counterspell.
Post October 7th, the world, and especially I would say Zionists in media, were demanding that we all pay attention. When we began to pay attention, we didn't like what we saw. You cannot tell me to ever feel comfortable with 18,000 children being ruthlessly murdered. You can't get me to feel comfortable as a Christian with the amount of more explosives dropped, tons of explosives dropped on Gaza than were dropped in Hiroshima. This doesn't make sense to me. Gaza is 30 miles long, 7 miles wide. It's incredibly dense population. And this is, by the way, according to Haaretz, that 40,000 Palestinians have been murdered. I believe they're getting those numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry. And here's what I would like to say to you, Rabbi, since you're quoting scripture, okay? I think what's relevant is Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
Woke troll tried to spin the narrative. Candace hit rewind and exposed the lie in 4K.
So I always have to ask the question at the end. I mean, everyone knows what the question is going to be. But so what is a woman? Can you define the term?
I think the answer to what is a woman is a person who aligns with feminine traits that we traditionally associate with females, or that people that align with the feminine side of the spectrum. So that's my answer. And I think that answer should, the definition of everything changes over time. And as we continue to learn more about what humans can really be, I think that can continue to grow. And I hope you understand that.
Question: what is a woman? Answer: feelings, vibes, cultural performance. Even a goldfish would have done better under pressure.
We're gonna stop woke. Woke is
Trump said it in plain language.
So this woman right here thinks I'm going to get deported because I'm a brown woman. That's an extremely racist thing to say, ma'am.
No, the racist people are...
No, you're the racist because you just came up to me and said I'm going to get deported because I'm brown. How dare you? How dare you sit here and speak to me because of my skin tone? No, I don't need to be careful. Guess what? I voted for Donald Trump because he's a president of law and order, and I've actually met him. He's very nice. And it's racists like you who stand here and tell me that I'm going to get deported because I'm brown. How dare you? This is the average right liberal right here.
You're brown, so you're getting deported, but hey, I'm not racist. Make it make sense, please.
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who feel actively victimized by your presence here?
Get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this. Next question. Somebody give out free hugs. I can't be your mommy, okay? I'm too pregnant. I can't be your mommy.
That's a mic drop over there.
Everyone is and how great everything is in the schools, and now I've figured it out. Because all these came here to defend you all from hurtful words. This is obnoxious. Let me just say, there is one goal for the educational system. It should be to prepare children to enter careers to be productive members of society. It is not a counseling session.
This mom walked into a school board meeting and walked out having wrecked the entire woke agenda.
If you could eliminate one thing from the world, what would you eliminate?
Narcissists.
Toxic feminism.
Guess which one triggered the woke internet?
How many genders are there?
2.
And they are?
Male, female.
But what about someone's right to tell you what their gender is?
No problem at all. So it's you. You're going to tell me what your gender is, but in the world, I don't have to believe it. But I'm thrilled for you. You're a lampshade. I'm so happy. Let me put a light bulb up.
Peak sarcasm backed by biology.
My idea of the patriarchy, which is a system of male dominance of society.
Yeah, but that's not my sense of the patriarchy.
So what's yours?
Well, in what sense is our society male-dominated?
The fact that the vast majority of wealth is owned by men, the vast majority of capital is owned by men. Women do more unpaid labor.
Very tiny proportion of men, and a huge proportion of people who are seriously disaffected are men. Most people in prison are men. Most people who are on the street are men. Most victims of violent crime are men. Most people who commit suicide are men. Most people who die in wars are men. People who do worse in school are men. It's like, where's the dominance here precisely? What you're doing is you're taking a tiny substrata of hyper-successful men and using that to represent the entire structure of Western society.
Suddenly the patriarchy doesn't look so glamorous, huh?
Your definition is that a woman is someone who is female, you said, right?
Correct, is a biological female.
So what happens if we have maybe someone who is female, identifies as a woman, right? You know, cisgender woman, right? As you just explained, maybe doesn't have the ability to reproduce. Maybe doesn't have those organs that you're talking about that are reproductive organs.
I have answered the question. You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not myself.
You used the word, so what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right. So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people who...
That describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it different.
This question is not a trap as the answer lies in basic biology, but apparently that's controversial now.
What is your biggest fear in 2025?
People not understanding the difference between lies and truth.
What is a woman?
Does it really matter?
So could I be a woman if I wanted to be?
Yes.
Another day, another liberal short-circuited by the same question.
A woman's life is more important than the person that's inside.
So we both acknowledge that it is a person inside, but it's just not as valuable.
I am not saying that it's a fetus.
Well, you just said person.
Okay.
Do they only acquire the rights that you were talking about that we're born with after they go through the birth canal?
Sure.
So you're pro-abortion all 9 months?
Yes.
So anything that we do to that fetus prior to the 9 months, like killing it, would be acceptable?
Sure.
And do you believe that kids are born trans?
Yeah.
Okay, so what if a Christian wanted to abort their trans kid because they were trans? You wouldn't have any issue with that?
I mean, it doesn't matter because it's not, like, you put words in my mouth, man. I'm done with
No, I'm just asking.
Nope.
The moment she starts losing the debate, it's no longer a conversation.
So, ladies and gentlemen, at Class C, to the white lady, he won the first set. Let's go. Are you guys coming back? Yes! That is our night at the Orlando Improv.
What absolute sexist.
A harmless joke gets told, and like clockwork, a feminist takes it personally.
Back me up. I'm on board with 95% of it. They're like, Black Lives Matter. I'm like, hell yeah. They're like, future is female, stop Asian hate. I'm like, absolutely. They're like, all white men are scum.
They scream Black Lives Matter, shout Stop Asian Hate, then turn around and say all white men are evil. This one starts yelling about being a he, them. The guy responds, cool as ever, there's no such thing as trans people. And that's when the meltdown begins.
Proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself. Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a registered voter.
I vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today. Yeah? Wait, hold on. How is it any different than a professor talking to you?
Then a professor talking to you? Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it was like an improv comedy thing.
A student tries to roast Charlie Kirk for debating college kids, but he was left speechless immediately. And
what does it mean to be trans?
I don't know. I've never
He's asking you.
can get an answer to that question.
I'm asking you.
Well, you just claimed you're trans.
I am trans.
And I'm asking you what that means.
What does it mean to you?
Well, I would tell you that transition is something...
You don't tell anybody
Okay, well, you asked what it means.
You literally just asked us to tell you what it means.
You have the opportunity here to, like, educate a couple 100,000 people online about what it means to be trans.
Educate people online.
Educate people online about what?
Well,
why are you blocking
trans.
this? Why are you blocking it? Why are you here? What message do you want to give people?
Okay, here's the message.
We're listening.
Y'all are a bunch of fascists using transgender medicine as a spearhead for your fascist country because you're patriarchal white supremacists, and this is just what it is, and y'all know what it is.
Why are we're white supremacists? What is your evidence for even saying that, besides just being a jerk to us?
White, right?
You're white.
And like white supremacy,
are you a white supremacist?
The tip of the spear of white supremacy is
this clip sums up woke debate strategy. No logic, no facts, just yell racist and hope it sticks.
I will educate myself on the trans Native Americans that were running around America. We know that Native Americans were incredibly spiritual. There's no question about that.
Which spiritual? You believe in God?
I do believe in God, yes.
So
that doesn't make me believe in trans people. That doesn't make me believe that you can switch your parts. I don't believe they were performing.
Candace Owens shuts down the woke claim about native trans people.
If men have lots of resources and you can net a man who has lots of resources, wouldn't that be your preference? Whereas for men, if you ask them that question, mostly after things like beauty, the ability to become a good mother, they're not really after your resources.
So you're saying Gen Z, Gen Alpha are still seeking out women who are good mothers and beautiful. That's still Gen Z, Gen Alpha.
Yeah, well, Gen Z is actually trends more conservative in the smaller percentile. So yeah, they do tend to answer that way. Interestingly enough, as millennials get older and their priorities change, the same thing. Men seem to answer that way then as well.
Liberal feminist enters with opinions, exists with nothing to say.
Your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended.
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
Well, I'm very glad I put you on the spot.
Well,
I'm very glad that I have exercised my freedom of speech.
You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what the hell's going on. So and that is what you should do. But you're exercising your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
You haven't sat there and I'm just trying to work that out. I mean,
gotcha.
Jordan Peterson just dismantled her argument, and all she could say, "You caught me."
tired of straight white men having the power and everything, you know? And it's like, we as women of color, as like students at this university, like we're very much capable of certain things, and we don't have the same privileges that are offered to straight white men.
And I've been hearing that from a lot of the ladies that I've been talking to today. Talk to me about what some of those privileges are that, you know, straight white men have that you don't have. Talk to me about that.
I think, I don't really know. Have you ever experienced like a specific, I also need to go. I know, I'm sorry.
Instead of answering, she suddenly remembers she has to go.
How would you define a woman? Because you've asked other people up here to define how we would define a woman. How would you define a woman, Mr. Walsh?
An adult human female.
No fluff, no confusion, just plain facts.
Trans woman is a real woman.
I don't really like the way those questions are formulated. Now, I don't know what that means. What do you mean a real woman?
You know, it depends what you think a real woman is, but do you think a trans woman is a woman?
No, because I think that women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have...
That's science, not hate. That's it for today, folks. If logic made you smile, hit like, drop a comment, and don't forget, stay sane, stay sharp, stay unwoke.